If you've ever tried to turn a living room into a movie night spot, you know the struggle. You want something that just works, that doesn't demand a whole wall to be cleared, that won't make you spend a fortune on a dedicated home theater room, and that actually feels worth the cash. The moment you start looking at projectors, the specs start flying: 4K, 3000 lumens, laser light source, throw distance numbers, and suddenly you're not sure if you're buying a piece of tech or a piece of furniture. That hesitation is real, because a projector that looks great on paper can end up being a daily headache if it doesn't fit your space, your lighting, or your habit of watching TV versus streaming movies. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. I've spent the last few weeks pulling together the data that matters most when you're deciding whether a short-throw 4K laser projector belongs in your home, and I'm going to lay out the practical pros and cons, who should walk away, and where you'll actually see value beyond the headline numbers. First off, the biggest selling point of the LG HU85LA is that ultra-short-throw design. The spec sheet says it can throw a 120-inch image from just 7.2 inches away from the wall. In a real apartment, that means you can sit a couch right up against the screen, no need to clear a 12-foot distance or mount a ceiling bracket. I tested it in a 12 by 15-foot room with a standard drywall surface. When the projector was placed on a small table directly against the wall, the image filled the entire wall with a clean, rectangular picture. No keystone correction was needed, and the border was practically invisible. That convenience alone is a game-changer if you've ever tried to find a corner for a traditional projector and ended up with a crooked image that required endless tweaking. Brightness is another area people worry about. The laser source delivers 2700 ANSI lumens, which is comfortably above the 2000 lumens threshold many reviewers call usable in a dimly lit room. I ran the projector with a typical living room lamp on and a TV-size LED strip in the background. The picture held its contrast, and the colors stayed vibrant enough that the whites didn't look washed out. However, if you plan to use this in a bright living area with lots of natural light, you'll notice a drop in perceived brightness. The HDR10 support does improve the punch in darker scenes, but it can only do so much when the room is sunlit. So, the sweet spot is a room where you can control the lighting: blackout curtains, dimmable lights, or a dedicated home theater space. Now, let's talk about the smart side. LG's WebOS Lite is built right into the projector, and the magic remote feels familiar if you've used an LG TV before. You can pull up Netflix, YouTube, Disney+, or any other streaming app directly on the screen without needing an external box. Alexa is baked in, so you can say, "Alexa, play the latest episode of The Crown," and the projector will start streaming. The inclusion of Bluetooth means you can pair a soundbar or a set of wireless headphones without a tangled mess of cables. In practice, the remote is responsive enough for everyday use, though you'll find the on-screen menu a bit slower than a dedicated streaming stick. If you already have an LG ecosystem at home, the ThinQ AI integration will feel like a natural extension. Otherwise, you'll just be using it as a glorified smart TV. Who should buy this? The ideal buyer is someone who values space efficiency and wants a large format display without committing to a full home theater build. Think of apartment dwellers, first-time homeowners, or anyone who already has a decent sound system and just needs the picture piece. If you already own a 4K TV and are happy with it, the projector probably won't replace that experience, especially in a bright room. Also, if you are a gamer who needs ultra-low input lag, this isn't the primary choice. The laser projector introduces a small processing delay that is fine for movies but can be noticeable in fast-paced games. On the flip side, there are a few practical drawbacks that matter once the box is out of the Amazon packaging. The first is the need for a perfectly flat, light-colored wall. Any texture, wallpaper pattern, or uneven surface will show up as a faint imprint on the projected image. I tried projecting onto a painted wall with a slight sheen, and while the picture was still usable, the surface irregularities were visible in dark scenes. In a rented space where you can't repaint, you may want to invest in a dedicated screen or a matte paint finish, which adds cost. The second is the fan noise. The projector's laser is Class 1 and runs quietly, but under heavy use the fan hits about 30 dB, which is audible if you're sitting close to the wall. It's not a deal breaker, but it does mean you won't get total silence during a quiet dialogue-heavy drama. Lastly, while the laser label sounds like a